it's the way we write quite often these days. It's, back in the day, we'd be like 5 days a week, but pretty regularly, every week. Now we're slackers, so we coordinate what, we'll be here for like these 10 days and we'll write every single day, so we have to really make those days count, and you never know, sometimes it could work out, it really depends on the results, but it helps when we have a little bit of a game plan in place.
That's actually interesting. I mean, how have you noticed the songs, or have you noticed a difference in the end result, given that you don't sort of have that sprawling sense of like, time is no object, no impediment anymore? Like, how has that changed? Do you think that's changed what you make?
I think not drastically. I think there's a benefit in the way that we do it now, where we kind of get together and then we break, and then everyone takes home these sort of really well recorded demos that Sam engineers, and we can all live with what we're doing and sort of make notes, and then you come back with. It's just, I think it's very useful in a creative process to like step away.
When the songs are in that stage, how do you play them on your phone, driving in your car? Like, how do you each sort of, I mean, you don't have to go down the road like kindergarten answering this, but like, I'm interested in how you, Sam, would you like to answer first? But how you sort of integrate that, how that process that you just described actually works in your lives, how you put those songs into your head. Because you also like toured in between the making of this record, your first album, which is just an interesting kind of, I don't know, like mental hopscotch that you're doing while making something new. How did that, someone answer in response to that with the Don question?
Well, first, to the first part of that, we do a better than okay job recording what we call rehearsals, which is really just, what it comes down to is arranging what has been written. And then when it's time to break, I go home and just mix all that, and they each give me very detailed lists of what takes, what songs from what day.
Oh my.
It takes like 4 days. And then, of course, my dyslexic brain gets them mixed up, and Daniel will say, no, I didn't want mix 80 of song number 16. So that kind of boring thing transpires, but we do get to live like the 2 weeks that we'll take off. There's just recordings to listen to, and whether it be in my car or on Paul's surfboard.
Because we'll do like 5, 6. I mean, I guess in the course of a batch of rehearsals, we'll do like 50 takes of any given song, and there might be one take where you did one guitar noodle, and it's like, I need to hear that one. And then there's also the issue of I'm not singing real words at this point all the time. I'm sort of just like singing Romulan book is the way I've heard it referred to. No. And so in those mixes, it's kind of like saying,
I don't need. Sorry.
It's actually a Matt Sweeneyism, I think. Romulan is the way he puts it. But I've heard, I think Ozzy does something like it too. What's that?
Star Trek.
Yes, Star Trek. But basically not English is the idea. And it's, when you're just working out the top line melody and the cadence of it, it's I don't write the words, the lyrics like instantly sometimes, but not usually. So in those mixes, it's like I don't need that vocal cranked, just me making shit up. It's like
really
just talk the vocal, please, like some reverb on there. Yeah, there's a lot of requests on Sam.
It's super helpful though. I listen to it just walking along and just hearing things, and then you get an idea you hear like one little thing that happened once, and it gives you an idea for something bigger that can be born from that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I did read some reviews of this record in an attempt to be,
It sounds like it's not working at all.
No, but it's just funny. There's an interesting I mean, a lot of what's getting said about this album, which I love, by the way, it's amazing. It really is a lot of fun to listen to, and it does have a kind of propulsive. The review seems to be focusing in part on a sense of momentum and energy and kind of like a churningness, and in some cases in contrast to like a more sprawling sound that you guys had at the beginning of your career. And it's just interesting because your process is actually sort of the reverse. It's interesting to hear how like more time might make things feel like more open, but in some ways less open. Like almost like you could get time as an enemy in a certain sense.
It can. There is a point that you're not privy to where.
Yes. You're supposed to stop and you don't know, or
diminishing returns, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that leads up to why we decided to work with a producer for the first time,
Yeah.
really. And
So why does it lead there? How did that decision get made? Sam, you come on. I mean, you just made me ask that question.
I know.
You just opened the door for that one.
It just kind of, it seemed like all of a sudden it was in the room and there was a discussion. And it was like a 3-month-long discussion of the possibilities. And we still kept doing what we were doing. We weren't stalled by the decision of, oh, do we work with we just kept going. And it finally got reduced down to Dave Fridman, which secretly I was not letting go of. I am a Fridman fanboy. Like, it just goes back to your self-esteem, Mercury Rev, and
Did you hold it together when you first met him, or did you freak out?
Barely. Dave, you remember when you were Mercury Rev, Jonathan,
That was awesome.
Grasshopper. He was a guitar player. He was so cool. Dave. Yeah.
So you went.
He's so disarming that he is such
Is
a.
he super chill?
Oh my
Okay,
God!
okay,
What a
yeah.
lovely man.
Yes, the
He
chillest.
really is very highly intelligent,
Yeah.
very friendly, no pretension whatsoever, and brilliant. Like, he's fucking brilliant. Period.
You like him a bit.
Little.
I get the sense, yeah. But when you guys were when I remember I was living upstate at the time that you were recording a lot of this, and just sort of kept hearing like, yeah, we're in upstate New York. It's January. It's like I know it's a cliche, but
It wasn't
I keep
upstate New York either. That's the thing. I feel like whenever someone says
It's like
Western New York, it's different.
it's
cool.
deep,
That is a
real
different beast.
New York.
It's a different. It's right. It's
It
like
is
far
very
different than
here.
upstate.
It's like,
But
hi,
it's
Canada.
Yeah.
Lake Erie, lake effect, snow. I guess Daniel said it snowed every 4 minutes.
Okay. Does that? I mean, really? Does that affect things? Like, do you feel like that has an impact on the music, or at least the experience of making that music while you're doing it? How you feel about it?
I think there was the real benefit was that we were all there all the time, and I think
As
some.
opposed to
Well, sometimes if you're doing a record
Right.
and everybody's in town, like you can show up and do a guitar overdub and you're just there by yourself. Or like maybe there's, like the mixer has a mix up, but you're the only person there to like listen to the first rundown of that mix. So when everybody's there, even if it's not like your day to do anything, I think it just kind of keeps like a real glue to the experience, and things are just sort of like, all right, we're just gonna like sign off on this today because we're all here and we're gonna move on to the next
yeah,
thing.
okay.
So I think it helped us have confidence in maybe more spur of the moment decisions. Like you don't have to wait for someone to like get on, they're in.
And had you made? I mean, how long has it been since you made a record in that way? Were you already-
Antics probably, right?
Okay.
Because Cadis was in Connecticut, so we
Yes.
would go out there.
And even then, though, like some people, if they weren't needed, they would probably go back to the city because the allure of like sleeping in your own bed is too strong, you know. Like,
Western New York, you're shit out.
but we were there. It was the first time I think since probably even Bright Lights that we were there. Every single band member was there for every single moment, like every single moment.
And that's part of
Yeah.
Frid's kind of philosophy as a producer too, which is like the subtle stuff like that that I think he's really tuned into to
Yeah.
like make great music.
And we all know why we ended up with this part in that song, or even if you didn't have something more related to Sam's playing or Paul's, like you were present for it, so you know why we got there.
And it doesn't feel like a secret that you hear on the track the next time you show up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that too, but it helped. There had to be some overdubs because it was only we were doing this record as a 3-piece, so
Yeah.
Paul wore like 80,000 hats.
I do that anyway.
He does.
Love cats.
But without that, invariable overdub,
Yeah.
dub, like it's what retained the aspect of a band being recorded to tape.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if we didn't do that, if the process wasn't the way it was, it would be kind of pointless to record to tape. Because it really wouldn't be held in its original context.
Yeah.
So he ensures that, if it's tension or whatever emotion, it stays. It stays in the room.
Right. It's
And,
not
like-
leaving. Stuck here with the snow every 4 minutes.
Well,
You're dealing with it. Yeah.
Previously, like, the past couple records, I'd finish the drum takes in a week and
Yeah.
it says, bye. See
Well,
you
'cause
guys later.
I do think it's interesting. I mean, you guys have made a few records now. You know, like you made a couple albums, and I think there's a sense of how you keep staying connected to each other creatively, how you keep staying connected to each other as human beings. Like that's an issue for any group of people who continue to make work together. And obviously we've talked at length at various points in your career, but one of the things that I remember is hearing from all of you at different points is having stuff outside of the band matters, seeing and respecting what happens when you get together matters, but also having this sort of like on-off switch for that is important. I'm wondering, I guess, if that, it sounds like this experience is consistent with that philosophy, but I'm interested in what you've all been doing besides Interpol in between that's kept you feeling, that's kept that balance working, if that's still how you would describe it. What do you do in your downtime, Daniel?
Another way to say
That's
it.
Go
a
to
$1 million question.
You've been talking to these guys, huh?
How's that guy do?
Yeah, they both looked really happy with that. I feel like I hit on something.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm always trying to play music and trying to write
Yeah.
stuff and see if it comes. Between the last record and this record, I didn't do like anything like another project or anything like that. Before Elpin Tour, I did have like a little. I put out another friend, but this time I think I just like to, still trying to write songs all the time, and I
Do you
travel a
play
bunch.
every day?
I try to when I have like, obviously on tour it's a little hard. I don't have the guitar always with me while we're traveling, but
Yeah.
if I'm at home, every morning I start my morning by playing guitar.
Really?
Yeah,
Every morning?
every morning like that, and
Wow.
coffee's like great.
Talking guitar, morning routine. Yeah. Okay. Sam?
Coffee and guitar with Daniel Kissel.
It's a new podcast. Yeah.
It's pretty boring.
It sounds very meditative, is what it sounds.
That's
yeah.
what it is.
Yes. It's a ritual. What about you, Sam? What have you been up to?
Well, a few years back, like Daniel, I did a record.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah.
It was fun just to work with the people I got to work with.
But what about like in the rest of your life? Like, are
Well,
we?
after,
Yeah.
then, like Daniel,
Yeah.
I decided not to do that. And in terms of musically, I was going to wait for Interpol.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to get into, I don't want to get preoccupied with anything else. And I was really excited for some unknown reason to play drums with Interpol. Well, aside from that's what I do,
I know. Yeah.
but I had my little foray, playing around with other instruments, and that was cute. But it was, no, seriously, I was just excited to get back to.
You saw other people for a little while.
I
And
did.
You came back to
Yeah.
good commitment. Yeah.
But then I still needed to occupy myself, so I started working on motorcycles.
No way.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
What's the knowing nothing about motorcycles, but having talked to people who love motorcycles, they all have the one motorcycle that's the sort of white. Do you have your pet?
A pet motorcycle? There's like 80 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the form, it's the form of a motorcycle and the
I
whole
don't know.
concept. No, just the idea of
Yeah.
the two wheels and an engine. But then I crashed into a tree.
Were you wearing a
2
helmet?
days. Yes, I was wearing a helmet. Are you kidding? I'm a member of Interpol Accessories. Unabashedly
There's
into
no
the
cool
accessories.
helmet.
Okay, like the no helmet law, you're missing out. It's a fucking
You
helmet.
crashed into a tree?
Yeah.
How does that work? I mean.
Thanks for asking that question.
Let's break that down.
Well,
Yes.
it was just a freak accident.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very glad you're okay.
Yes.
I get very nervous.
Well, the funny thing is that I was filming like B-roll for an Interpol documentary about the song NYC,
No.
who's being shot by a friend of Paul's. Carlos, I don't want to mess up his surname.
Puga.
He's brilliant DP.
Okay.
And so he just getting a shot of me pulling away. And the next thing you know, he hears, "Ah!" And I'm on the ground, and he's like, "Your bandmates are gonna fucking kill me.
Yeah.
Can you play?" And the first Bright Light show was gonna be in New York, 2 days later.
This was right before the, oh.
Yeah, this is, so I showed
It's
up,
not like you need your body or.
that's all I kept doing was moving my wrists and ankles.
Alright, so you were fine. Yeah.
So then, I thought it was wise to kind of just, okay,
Maybe not.
just look at the motorcycles for now.
Okay.
It's
Right.
like clean them, try to build one.
Wait, so what is he filming though? What do you mean for, explain, what was this supposed to be before the crash? Derailed
It was
for
a
moment?
mini documentary
Okay.
pertaining to the song NYC,
Okay,
the Interpol song NYC.
yes.
So it's yet to be, it's still, we don't know
In
when that's,
development.
yeah,
It's in development.
but that was the ironic thing.
That is funny. Yeah, New York is still like battering you from far away. Like the mere reference to the song that, with your home city.
It's like, yeah, go ahead, Sam. Go, you're smiling on that motorcycle, you look happy.
Because Sam has moved away, so it's like.
This was
I
in
feel like-
Georgia, this is
yeah.
like in Athens,
This is
Georgia.
information that might not be available.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, New York was chasing you down. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I would look forward to seeing that at some point. I hope they get back.
Well, I saw a picture
Yeah, is it
of
gonna
my
be-
smiling face on this motorcycle just before I crashed into the tree. And I think that might be the cruelest thing. I looked happy, I was like, check this out! My vintage motorcycle. It's so
I have to see this footage.
Yeah. And it's gotta be in the documentary.
It's on a loop for a video, the next video.
Yes.
The fact that I walked away from it that just makes it all humiliating and very humbling.
Okay, Paul, it's your turn. Tell us what you've been up to.
I mean, when I'm not doing music, the painting is a real kind of passion that I really enjoy, and it's something that sort of shows up, like the inclination shows up when I'm not working. Like the day I stop We Master a record, for instance, I'll get the urge to paint. So yeah, it's like a friend in that sense. It's always there, like at the right time. And I surf.
When did the painting start? Like, have you always been?
As a kid, I was into graphic arts, and then I did a course in painting when I was at NYU for 1 semester, and it really just even learning the way to use, I use oil, and so like the course was what you can learn in 1 semester of a painting class, but it was like enough for me to kind of start and realize like, oh, okay, this is how I can just like
Wow.
make it a hobby. Yeah, and it's just really, such a fun meditative thing that just sort of, I can spend hours and hours doing that, so it's nice when I'm not in the music thing.
Interesting that it comes right after you finish something. I mean, it's sort of like.
And then it shuts off, like if I'm on tour, if I'm writing with Interpol, like I don't have the urge. I don't like go home, so I wish I could paint, but I don't have time. It's like it just disappears. It's great.
So I did want to ask you guys a bit about what it was like to turn on the bright lights in the middle of making this record. I mean, I know you have talked a bit about that as well, but it is interesting. It's not like that's not something most bands do or find themselves in a position to be doing, is to kind of return to the past in the midst of what can be a pretty delicate process of creating the present/future. Like, how was that? Or did it not end up feeling significant, particularly, to kind of take that break from writing? Or I don't really know enough about where you were in the process and how.
We were deep in the process,
Okay.
and I don't feel like for me it didn't really impact anything that I was writing or what I was contributing as a writer. But I think it gave us like just being in front of our audience and playing live.
Yeah.
I think that was really useful to go back to the studio and have that sense of the urgency and the immediacy of a live show. I think that kind of got into the cracks of what we were doing with Goodman in a very good way. I think it was really beneficial.
I think it was like less about touring from Bright Lights and more about taking this batch of songs that you've been working on, Mirage songs, and putting them aside for several months, like ignoring them, and then basically going on tour and then pick them back up after 4 months and seeing how you felt about them. I felt like that was something different we've never done anything like that before.
Was it, is there anything that we hear, like, is there any song that's on the album that you weren't sure was going to be on the album in between? I mean, is there any one that stands out, or, anything that comes to mind when I
I think there's a lot of things that probably end up on the record that before we started, before we started recording, I probably would have. There's a lot of songs that end up on the record that before we started recording, I probably would have guessed would have been on the record.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of surprises that just evolved from in the studio working with Dave and the mixing process. There are a lot of songs that seem like they're more like destined to be like, I don't know, other releases or whatever, B-sides or something like that, but then they just came out so strong that they sort of found their place, they earned their place in the record. It was really exciting about this. It wasn't something that was like so scripted. We had an idea, but like things just changed because results in the studio are sort of undeniable and they find their place. But I think like it was interesting before, like, because we started rehearsing for the Bright Lights tour, I think at the end of July of last year, 2017, and at that point we'd already written, I think most of the music was finished. I think Paul's still working on lyrics and vocal melodies, but most of that was finished. And then we didn't go back to, those songs, the Marauder songs, until the end of November. We had 1 week to kind of play them for the first time in 4 months, and then we started recording like a week later. So,
Okay.
but yeah.
So wait, Paul, were you writing lyrics? When did you write the lyrics? Like, I mean, I guess it's throughout. But...
Yeah, all throughout, and I did, like in the very early rehearsals, I sort of made a point of trying to get the vocal ideas going, like really, really early on. So as I say, I always have that sort of blueprint of, the first I want to come up with what would either be the title or the concept, and then like the initial top line melody of the song, and once I have that, then I can just kind of go away to the beach or do, write from there, from any place. And I was starting that immediately, I think, I put a long time into writing the lyrics on this record in particular.
It sounds like it. It's very personal, as they say. Maybe more than usual. Do you think that's true? Like, do you think they're more, I don't know,
Yeah, I think they're more immediate, maybe more direct.
Yeah.
But I always, when we talk about this record as being kind of more personal, I always feel like they're personal.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm, trying to reveal things, whether about myself or about,
Like what?
Don't fall for Paul.
Come on, spill it. I'm curious.
Yeah.
No, I think, I don't know. I guess it's just, my take. And I feel like sometimes on this record, putting things through a little bit more of a simple, direct filter, I felt like I was able to kind of express the concepts or even just like express the emotions that were, charging me up creatively. And I think sometimes I need to put that through an abstract prism or project it onto a character, and then I feel like some of the things that I was sort of experiencing and wanted to express could just come out through a pretty direct recounting of, something I've experienced or someone close to me has experienced, and just kind of keep it a little bit more direct like that. But I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why that happened
Okay,
this time.
fine.
That wasn't a
You just stole
conscious
my
choice.
follow-up. No way. Yeah, that's okay. That's interesting. I mean, I think it's part of it just feels like I see this with like a lot of the people that we all know that came from sort of came up in this city at the same time. Like you get older and it gets easier to write about the things you've always been trying to write about. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't speak from personal experience, but I've heard that from other songwriters as well.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I do. I feel like that's one benefit of doing it a long time is like some parts of the process you get better at it.
Yeah.
You get better at your craft, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So last thing really, I mean, we're here in New York, like in Brooklyn. You guys are a New York band. Some of you still live here. You're all traveling a lot. I don't really live here anymore, but I still feel like I do. I mean, how are you feeling about the city? Like, how does it feel to be playing here last night, to be kind of launching the album in this place? Like, I'm assuming that's intentional. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just sort of how it worked out. But like, does the city still feel like a kind of beating heart of what you make in any important way? And it's okay if not. Like, or
I think
no,
we're
no, just-
so proud to be a New York band.
Yeah.
I mean, for real.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I rearranged my domestic life to come up here and record and rehearse. And what are you laughing at?
It's partially the way you're just like, let me tell you about my look what I've sacrificed.
Should I do this?
Yeah, yes, exactly. That's how.
Give a drummer a microphone
Yeah, watch out, everyone.
and watch a monkey go. Fuck you, Paul! I got it now! Right.
It all comes out.
What were we talking about?
Your love for your bandmates and the city.
No, it would feel odd not to do what we do here.
Yeah.
It would feel. I was thinking last night, should we? Why do we still rehearse? It costs a lot of money. Like even when we, appropriate our friends' rehearsal spaces and get them kicked out,
Yeah.
it still costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then I thought about where would we go?
Where else? Yeah.
And it wouldn't. That's where it would just kind of fall out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've written every Interpol record's been written in New York City, so it is home in that sense. And I think it's hard to. I think we could do what we do in other places. I think at this point we don't need New York, but it's some, it's just, it is part of our DNA, and it's a good part of our DNA, and it's something that sometimes it can get uncomfortable to write in New York because it's kind of distracting and it's hard to block things out. But I think we were born here, and this is like where it's where the band started, and that's just part of. We don't know where it starts and stops. I don't think. I think it's just something that we're accustomed to doing here, and it feels right.
I mean, it gives so much stimulation. It's just like, best city in the world, and I feel like the things that you see here, I think just get inside you, and as an artist, I think having that richness is just great fuel. In whatever way you process that, I think it's just a great place to get inspiration.
Me too. Obviously. I think we're gonna open it up to questions. I don't really know how that works. Am I supposed to call on people? Good thing I was a second grade school teacher for a while.
For reals?
Yeah.
Should we talk about that?
Wow.
When I first started seeing Interpol, I was a second grade school teacher. That was my first job in New York.
Second
Miss
grade
Goodman.
what? Substitute teacher or
Oh, no.
you're the real fan?
What
At an
subject?
all-boys school on the Upper East Side.
What
I was
subject?
an assistant teacher. All subjects. They were 7.
Oh, right, because they're yes.
Except their math started getting too hard for me. I was like, 3rd grade math in New York private schools is apparently where I quit. But, yeah.
Fun.
Yes.
So I really love the Roman music video. What would your whole take on this?
Somebody?
I mean, we had a concept for that video, and then we had a press conference scheduled in Mexico City, and then it just kind of working with a great director like Gerardo and just everybody involved, like Undercard is a design company we've been working with who were in charge of the press conference. It just sort of, we kind of said, why don't we morph these two ideas together, and everyone involved was on board with that. So it became this Rover concept video set in Mexico City, and then let's use the press conference for the video, and then it just kind of went from there. Yeah.
And it was just really, we like Mexico City a lot. Yeah. We have a very good audience down there. So that part was fun. You have? Where at? Oh, yeah. Oh, that was the Pixies. Nice. That was fun, right?
So I guess God willing, no more motorcycle accidents.
Exactly.
Between this album and the next album, do you guys think you'll release singles or do collaborations like you have with the RZA and Florence and stuff?
I mean, I think there's some music that was recorded and not on the record, as Daniel mentioned. So I mean, there's some. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to come next, but could be some more Interpol between now and the next Interpol.
Good clarification.
My question is specifically about New York City. Is there a place that you're most excited to go to whenever you return
In the city?
in the city?
You got one? Yeah.
A restaurant, a bar, a store?
It's a good question.
It's a really good question.
I mean, I have those, but I think they're kind of like, I think any person who travels a lot or is in a band has that for every city. After you've been away, there's that local place you want to go to, that coffee spot or whatever. So I have them, but I'm gonna keep them. But yes, they do exist.
I'll tell you later.
Sam will out everybody. Yes. Yeah.
Do you notice that New York City has a weird buzz to it? Like, I've been around, Ireland and stuff
Here.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's true. There is. It's almost palpable sometimes.
No, I think buzz is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's a really special energy at all times in this city. I mean, it's small, so densely populated, and just sort of people from all around the world at the pinnacle of whatever industry are kind of here. So it's just, it's a fascinating place.
You're so annoyed with me.
Plans
Jeez.
for a South American tour, like in Ecuador, Peru, Colombia, Argentina. Or Ecuador.
Do we have a plan to go there?
Yeah.
I think we're thinking about things and discussing and so forth, and to go to South America. So I think we'll have something soon. But
We love South America.
we love South America, that's for sure.
Yeah, ole!
These guys were in Philadelphia. That's where you got that shirt, right?
Yeah!
It's a Rocky T-shirt.
Oh, yeah. Not ASAP. That's what I meant. Yeah.
So how difficult has it been to kind of stick to the red and black aesthetic throughout all the albums? And kind of what inspired that from the outset?
The red and black aesthetic from, like, in the album artwork,
Yeah,
or?
album artwork, yeah.
Well, Our Love to Admire has the animals.
Yeah, that is the kind of the deviation.
And album 4 doesn't have the red.
Yeah.
And Marauder is blue and not black. But I
So
mean,
clearly you're wrong.
but I don't know. I think we have a lot of fun with the design, and I think it's good to have themes and good to have, a thread. But it's also really fun just to try new things. And I think we've done that.
Yeah, I think it's so great in terms of how you always get the aesthetic of the band. It's always been a cinematic kind of thing. And from I was at the show last night. It's the first time I saw you live. It's great to see the outfits on stage and how that kind of plays into the album artwork and how the album artwork plays into the music video. So hats off to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you said when you're originally recording, you said some Robert. So how is that when you do start writing? Do you find that the strums, if you already have the rhythm or you have the beat, do you find that it makes it more difficult for the lyrics?
I know what you're, getting at. Is it because you got to force meaning into a framework that's already there, just in terms of syllables and stuff. But what I've found is that in the same way with kind of formulaic poetry or sonnets and haiku, not so much haikus, but I remember thinking in college there's a certain type of sonnet that I think John Donne is a good author of, or even Shakespeare, right? Where there's limitations and a limitation of the form, but I remember kind of feeling holy shit, I feel meaning sometimes springs out of those limitations in a almost magical way, where instead of it being a limit to what you can express, the parameters somehow enhance what you can express. And that's sort of what I find with the lyric writing. It's kind of just coming from somewhere organic, and so yeah, it's an interesting process.
Yes. Okay. Who else are you listening to? Who inspires you? Who you guys do?
Probably lots of different answers to that one.
Artists. Yeah. Curious.
A$AP Rocky. Same.
I'm still stuck on David Bowie.
I don't know. The who influences is just too vast to answer. But I heard the Kazoo from Blonde Redhead made a very beautiful soul record that's not out yet, and she passed it on to me, and it's I've been listening to that a lot. Really, it's lovely.
Yes.
The beats in the record, it sounds like if you remember nothing, I think they're quite different from the kind of purpose of your song. Where does the inspiration for the drumming come from?
That was listening to a lot of Motown and Stax stuff. In particular, an Otis Redding record. I can't think at the top of my head what it is, and it wouldn't matter. The beauty of all his lyrics and melodies, I didn't even get to that because this drummer, whoever it was, rearranged my whole opinion of drumming, and what he was doing was so simplistic, and yet it was only he could do it. And it's really bad I don't know this gentleman's name, but I couldn't even get that far. I was just kind of, and that just led to other things, and I just intentionally went out of my John Bonham sphere, the old, stalwarts of drumming, and just went down other avenues, and even listening to Control, Janet Jackson, like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, what they did with a drum machine was sick. It's like some of the best drumming that a drummer didn't play. So it's kind of just mixing that in and really hoping that I could insert that into what we were doing. And I guess we're still a band, or I guess it's no sense that we're still, wait. No surprise, because it worked out. What I was thinking 1,000 miles away, not knowing what I was going to hear in a week or two, revealed itself. Things like the Rover, Complications, If You Really Got Nothing, like you said, and which is, I was able to kind of just pull from that the little bank of inspiration. You're welcome. Thank you.
Let's do 2 more. Okay. Yeah, you've been waiting for like 100 years. Columbia.
House event.
In the past.
I don't know.
I think MSG is just the next show in New York. I don't know if there's anything else to play.
Our managers are here. Did you?
Yeah.
You guys?
They're taking notes.
They have comments boxes up there.
Oh my God.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, you.
I got you.
Hi, I'm wondering if at any point does any of this ever feel like a normal job, or are you still sort of like blown away every day that this is getting deep?
I think I'm kind of blown away every day that this is. Yeah, I think even more, the more we do it, the more, I don't know, the more I feel that way. I think, like after Bright Lights came out, it just never got further in thinking about just hoping to make a record and put it out there. I never thought there'd be an audience or didn't anticipate anything like that. So the fact that we're on our 6th record up here right now and doing this kind of stuff, to me it is mind-blowing, and it's like every time we play shows now, it's actually so mind-blowing in that sense. I don't describe it, but it's something I feel very fortunate and privileged to get to do, and it means more to me now than it ever has, and I really enjoy it so much. So it's it's a crazy thing.
I would second that. It's very humbling.
Yeah, that's what
It is like it could, on one hand, you could let it get to your ego, and that would be a shame because you really wouldn't be taking in what's happening. You would be expecting it, but to be doing this is like, we'll walk away and go, did we really just do that? That's really fucking cool. That's just it. I mean, we're pretty, and it's not lost on us. I think we're pretty fortunate.
Yeah, and people often say, like, do you get tired of playing the old songs? And I always kind of go, no, I don't even understand what that would be like. I feel like it's still always, it's a very meaningful thing still.
Thank you.
I think that's
Lizzy,
all. Yeah.
Lizzy, this woman is very patient.
Oh, good. Yeah. Anyone you guys, I mean, this is your show. Go ahead.
Which ones?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
do you have any
are you
other
talking about here?
No, just give us
Give us an example.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't called.
Oh, okay. So wait, is your...
He's probably got a million friends that call with sick.
He's probably got like 1 million friends, exactly, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay, you're
one
saying
more.
record with some of those like Roger Waters type, that generation while there's time. That's what you're asking. I mean, that's I've never, right. It's interesting.
Will you call Jimmy Page and tell him just very interested?
He's not a baby boomer. Stick to your point. Get a theme.
Neil Young.
All right.
How about Neil Young?
Nice.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Can't top that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a mic drop right there. No question. I mean, we don't have any more time, so I think that might be it.
Thanks so much, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.